Welcome to Tesla Info, and today we're looking at release 2023.12, which is one of the biggest interface updates for a while. You can find all the release notes on our website, and we also say which models in which regions the software release notes are on, both at a release level and at the individual option levels, and so you can actually find out whether your car should have a feature or not. Our data is based on actual cars which have reported those features and not trying to reverse engineer code and getting it wrong. So hope that helps if you're looking for more information. We also have a detailed stats page and a heat map. So anyway, if you want information about releases and on which cars, just head over to Tesla Info. Right, let's get on with the detail. In no particular order, we're going to look at points of interest and the extra information you get. And we'll be dropping in footage as we go of what the old release showed you before. But first of all, when you search for something, you can now click on the icon on the right, and that will bring up almost like a mini Wikipedia or Google page. Whereas if we look at the old version, you just get a little dash with an A. One thing we found out while doing this, actually, the voice control, you can actually click in the search box and type in the command you want, and it will actually fill the search box in for you, something we've not noticed before. Next up, we're looking at the scroll wheel. So hold in the left scroll button, and then effectively you get an option to select a command. If you push to the left, you can then roll up and down to pick the control you want, select it, and then up and down will then, should say, change the speed and so on. So it's quite a neat feature. You can also default it via the display, but actually it'll adopt whatever your last selected one was from the scroll wheel, so you don't really ever need to visit the display menu. While we are in the display menu, we're going to change the font size. This causes a reboot which takes a few seconds. We've sped that up, and then you can see the revised display menu, which everything is slightly larger, as you'd expect, and you can still select all the options. Some of the fonts and some of the pull down lists seem to be the same size as they were before, but in general the font is much bigger. And we're going to show you in a minute. We're going to take a static image of the screen before and after, and we'll just basically flick backwards and forwards so you can see side by side how they change. The next quick one is a look at the apps menu and the customization. That's changed slightly. It's not really that different. There's the old version, but it's changed. We've now got Zoom in a lot more countries, predominantly Europe. It's been in the US for a while, in Australia, but anyway, it's now spread. The charging screen has also changed, so now you've got an easy to use slide bar, because anyone that tried to use the old one, which we'll drop some footage in a minute, will know how difficult it was to change the state of charge using the menu. Another change is the ability to change the wiper settings from the scroll wheel. So you press the end of the stalk to do a single wipe. That brings up the menu, and then you can change the options. Interestingly, it doesn't also do it for lights, which you'd have thought would do because it's a similar sort of function. Okay, next we're having a look at the service menu. The normal service menu hasn't changed, but we're going to run through some footage now of the hidden service menu, where there have been a few updates. The old menu is in the top right hand corner, and the new one is on the main screen, and you can see there's some pitch updates and changes are now visible on the cameras. And we really will just let you go through these. The connectivity menu is pretty much the same. Most of the charging menu seems very similar, and the battery. There are a few more options which have appeared, but to be honest with you, we wouldn't actually ever try any of those on the service menu unless you're really sure you know what you're doing, but it can be useful just to have a look. Here's a new screen as well about the battery level, and the home link has now got a graphic which it didn't have before. You can see quite detailed information about the heat pump. I mean, it was there before, but certainly the one where it's in operation is quite a pretty animated diagram, but realistically it's the same as we had before. The pitch meter, there is a slight ambient, which I didn't really see before. It was either green or not green. He's now got a light green if you're just slightly off. Very small change. And the windows, again, it's the same as before. In this menu, when you actually open the windows, you actually see the car indicate that you've actually made a change. Back to more everyday features. Quite a nice one is the search. If you type in what you're looking for, it actually brings up all those features and functions which actually match that. So if you type in wipers, you get both the windscreen wiper menu but also the service menu to park them for changing, which is a nice easy way to find what you're looking for. Tesla have also introduced gear chimes under the safety menu, so when you put the car into drive or reverse, it chimes. Hopefully you're hearing those. We don't know why we would turn it off. Another useful feature, which actually is a bit similar to the search feature, is the user manual. And not only does the user manual know your car, give you a lot more guides and detailed stuff. If you take to a particular thing like adjusting the steering wheel, it actually then brings up the control box to actually do that function, which is a quite nice integrated way of combining both those, the manual and also how to do it in the car. Okay, we haven't got many more to go now, so the next one is the phone app. So you can control the phone from the left steering wheel. So the whole left steering wheel's had a major makeover. We find it a bit clunky. If you swipe left, it mutes. If you swipe right thinking you're going to unmute, you actually hang up the call. So just be careful of that. You just swipe left to mute and unmute. Okay, we're now looking at the British English, and I'm British, so you'd have thought this would make a difference to me. Well, you may hear me droning on in the background trying commands, but the reality is we found virtually no difference between the two. And sometimes it's actually worse. So, yeah, maybe my English accent is more of an American one. One thing as well, you'd have thought in Britain we sometimes call the frunk a fruit because we call the rear a boot. Well, voice controls already accept boot for the frunk, but if you call the frunk a frunk, it doesn't recognize it. It thinks it's fruit and will try and navigate you there. The main thing about the voice control seems to be the peripheral words that you don't really need, like "Hey Jude." When you could, open the windscreen wipers, you could just say "Open windscreen wipers" and it would work. So it's the peripheral words that seem to make no difference. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Enjoy release 2023.12 when you get it, and if you like our content, please subscribe to our channel and like the video, and we'll see you next time.
Tune in to Radio 5. Open fruit. Open frunk. Open boot. Open trunk.